Go from a good book right back to a not so good book. Um, it's definitely better than Delectable Lady de Estelle. Um, so this book is called Foul is Fair, and I guess in the video about Dragon's Champion, I mentioned how Eric is special because we're shown that he's special and not told that he is special. In this book, girl's name is Megan. We're just told that she's special. Like she's got depression and she takes too many medications. At least that's what her friend Lonnie thinks. And okay, I guess. Um so Lonnie has this fairy friend. Get used to hearing the word fairy. Fairy, unseelie, and seelie. Unseelie are bad fairies, and seelie are good fairies. Essentially, they are all fae. Whatever. Anyway, so Lonnie has this friend named Ashling, and she is a fae, but one of her wings has been damaged, so she rides on top of a crow. She has Ashling steal the orange meds. They're like rainbow colored meds, and orange meds, and they steal the orange meds from Megan, and Megan starts being able to see things. I guess I don't know. Um, so then they go to like a park to talk, and they get attacked by something called a red cap, which is an unseelie, and red caps are some sort of demented fairy. I don't think they're normal unseelie. They find a satirist. Her name is Cassia. They mention that she's pansexual because I guess it matters. Representation in media only really works if the character is either a prominent point in the story or a main character, not a one-off that we will pretty much never see again. I mean, she's in the story still, but it doesn't amount to anything. Like she's not in a relationship as far as I can tell, so you kind of forget that point. Um, Megan is the daughter of some dude named Richard. He met fairies, but apparently was a paranoid schizophrenic. But I guess he wasn't a paranoid schizophrenic because he was actually seeing the things that the voices in his head were talking about. I have no idea. Chapter 7 comes along, and I think there's a conflict. Richard, who they call Riocard, is missing, and they need to find him. The Redcaps, which are the Nega fairies, want to kill. They want to kill Megan for some reason. Add something politics, something bad blood. Stuff's happening. As I said, the political parts of Game of Thrones are my least favorite parts of the story. Um, and so they're gonna be gone for a couple of days. So there's this thing called a brownie. I don't know what it does. I think it's able to like shapeshift into the other things. It pretends to be Megan so that her mom doesn't notice anything because you can't just disappear. That's also one of my least favorite things about fantasy. You can't just disappear and nothing happened back home and people don't react to it unless there's time travel involved, which there seldom is. Um, Rio Card was apparently hunting a three-headed scaly bird monster and then got ambushed in a maze. Megan is zoning out just like I am. And they need Megan because fairy magic won't free him, so they're taking Megan to the fairy, the Seelie. They go to the Seelie Queen, and the author describes the world, and it's like fantastical and stuff. And Queen Orlith is happy to have Megan. Apparently, the city where Riocard is called Findas or Findias. I don't know, and it's a problem. Riocard is the king of the Unseelie. I don't know. Um, There's this lady called the Grey Lady, not from Harry Potter. I don't know who she is. She doesn't like Megan or the Queen's plan, but doesn't have a better one. So they're gonna go with the Queen's plan. They pack for the day. Megan can do music magic, I guess. She dreams of music. A painting is staring at her. They start traveling, and they're chased, and they get to the city. Just don't I sound enthusiastic about this book? Um, Megan starts hearing things, and the wind is blowing hard, and there's something coming, like it's not a giant, it's a golem. It's a giant golem, but like it's a big golem, not a giant who happens to also be a golem. It is just a very large golem. And the city comes to life. It's a city made of iron, and iron harms Unseelie and Seelie, so no one wanted to go to the city, but they had to go to the city so they could do the thing. They find a dude there from 1389. He's seen the magical MacGuffin that they need so that they can free Rio Card, I guess, but the guards won't let him get near it. So they decide that the magical MacGuffin is a sword, by the way. I don't really remember what they needed the sword for, but oh, yeah, I do. They put the sword in some sort of rock and something happens. So they get the sword and the queen doesn't actually want to save Rio Card. Justin does not care about the fact that he basically ruined everything. They go back to like the real world, and chaos is happening, and there's just a lot of things that just happen in this book, but not in the same way that like A Light on the Hill things were just happening, because on The Light of the Hill it was a very then this happens, then they go here book, but this is just then this happens because reasons, then this happens because reasons, then this happens because reasons, and then this happens because reasons. Like there's a fly in here, I'm sorry. Like they don't have a plan. A week passes, and 3 songs later, on a day when they're randomly singing, now they have a plan. So they go back to Fairy. I think the place is called Fair, I don't know, Faire. I pronounce it Fairy. It could be pronounced Fair. If it is pronounced Fair, that's stupid. Anyway, I don't know what the plan is. Justin and Cassia go for the sword, and they're met with Queen's resistance, and they don't get the sword, but I think that was the goal. Aisling, Lonnie, and Megan get to Rio Card and were met with resistance and surrender, I guess. There's this thing, it's some sort of magical dance that needs to happen, and Orlith and Rio Card have to dance together, but if they don't, then chaos will happen. And I think it involves the humans, I don't actually know. And then, like, Orlith has Rio Card arrested and like somewhere, so the dance isn't supposed to happen, but then he just shows up and he's able to dance with her. But actually, as it turns out, that's not Rio Card. That's actually the sun. That's actually Megan, and she like dressed up as him. So the dance happened, and then Rio Card is just free, I guess. I don't fucking know what's happening. And then she just goes back to the real world, to her life, and it's like, are you maybe gonna mention to your mother that you know where your father is? No? Okay, that's fine too, I guess. But she's also like a princess. Like, you can't just go back to your life now. You are a princess. And then, like, there's a second book, but I don't really know what the second book could be about. Because if it's just about Orlith trying to dethrone Rio Card again, I don't see the point in reading the book. And you can't just go back to your normal life. It's like at the end of Jupiter Ascending, when they don't talk about the fact that she now owns the Earth. She's the queen of Earth. And also, there are 2 other siblings that we did not deal with. You can't just return and act like everything is fine, because everything isn't fine, and this is a problem. So, I don't know. 28 chapters of nothing is what this felt like, honestly. And, so, the book is about, like, 42 chapters or something like that, and it's only, like, 200 pages, so the chapters are all very short. And, we don't really, like, 28 chapters of nothing, because I was wrong. Chapter 7 is not where things start to pick up, because I was still bored and didn't really know what was going on until chapter 28. So, like, 28 chapters of nothing is not justified by something happening in the last half of the book. Like, the existence of the Star Wars prequels is not justified by the 3rd Star Wars prequel, because they're all bad. Anyway, we don't really get anything of the normal world in the hero's journey. There's, like, one of the first parts of the hero's journey is the fact that you need to establish what the normal world is. It doesn't really matter. Like, you can establish the normal world in anything. You can establish it in immediate rejection of the call. You can establish it in anything. But we need to know what is like at stake here, because I think the human world is at stake, but we don't get very much of the humans in the story, so thus I don't really know what Megan's motivation is. Wanting to find her dad, I guess, but I have no idea. And I don't. I kind of care about Ashling, but Megan doesn't come off as special. I'm not like I don't care about Megan. I could care less if she died. Not like she was going to. There was no tension in this book whatsoever. But whatever. I also don't know who set Rio card free, because if Megan was at the party, then who went with Ashling and Cassie? Ashling and Cassie? I don't remember. Who went with the other two to go get Rio card? Can we also discuss the fact that Justin is from the year 1389, and they just, like, during that week when they were on Earth, I kind of want to know what was going on with that, because he's from the year 1389 and we just don't talk about it. Like, I feel like he would be confused by a couple of things. The world building doesn't feel very important because I don't really care about the world. So it's as flat and boring as Megan is. Megan is just taking this all like pretty well. Like I mentioned in I don't know if I have any books up to this point where that has happened yet. Probably Death Cursed, like and the Watchtower. In Death Cursed and the Watchtower, like things are happening, and the main protagonist is having a reaction to it because fairies exist. Like, bruh, and like also they don't really say what the other medication is for. They take her off the orange pills, but the rainbow colored pills, they don't say what those are for. And she's been off the rainbow colored pills for like at least 2 nights. And then she goes back on them during the week and she's back. And then she goes back off them when they go back to the fairy place. So what's going on with that? And then like, I guess I understand the title. I guess. Because she's half unseelie, and the unseelie are like the fairies of chaos. So like foul is fair, I guess. I don't know. And then like, I guess this would probably work better as a movie, because in a movie you can't get inside a character's head unless the character is also narrating the story. But if they're not narrating the story, then you don't necessarily know what they're thinking unless they have like a very clear facial expression. So maybe because this is just a series of things happening, and it's kind of third person limited to Megan, but it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like we know anybody's thoughts about what's happening, or the fact that she found her father and that her dad is even alive. So maybe this would have worked better as a movie. I don't know. I didn't like it. So, where does it go on the list? Well, it's definitely above, Lady Estelle. Yeah. I don't know. Phallus Fair is above Lady Estelle. There is nothing in the world, I don't think, that could go underneath The Sweetest Kill. Yeah. Everything else has been on the good book list so far, so. Just bored, you know? Next book isn't boring, though, so. Tight.